So we could work up a little storyline. We've talked about exponential functions and you've graphed them. We talked about linear functions and you've graphed them. Now we're going to talk about linear growth functions and exponential growth functions and ask them this question. How do you
Right,
think?
because that's really the question. We don't
Right.
want to know what growth is, but how do you think they're different?
How do you think they're going to be different?
Right.
And so ask that question, see what kind of response before they even see this worksheet. So ask the question, how are they different?
Maybe you could even be like recording the different answers that they come up with.
Okay.
All the different things they say, you put it up on the piece of chart paper, and so then in the end you have something to look back at. Remember, you thought this is what would happen.
Yep.
So let's go back and take a look. Is this what you know, now
like
can you
that.
verify
I
it?
like that.
The growth model really gives, I think, a real-life application to a skill.
Okay, so then we need to say that in that intro that we're going to be talking about real-life application to the skill that you've been
Because
practicing.
really, they already have the skill.
Right. And that's why we're calling it growth.
Because
That's
it's
where
a
this
new
word
dimension
growth
to,
came from.
right, it's a new
Right.
dimension to what you already know how to do, and it gives it a purpose, and also for them to understand. So when you look at this graph, so what does it tell you about the growth? And
They also need to understand that it's just a linear function that we've been doing all along. Just
Right.
because it's called linear growth model
Right.
doesn't mean
Because
it's not.
that's the application.
Because I think some
It's
of
the
my kids
purpose.
might see something called linear growth model and say, I've never done
Brand
that
new,
before. What the
right.
heck is this?
right,
Right.
right, brand new situation that don't, right.
So all it really means is it's a linear function like we've been doing all along, but when you apply it to the real world and it's getting bigger, it's called a linear growth model. It's
All
the
those
same
times
thing.
when they ask, when am I ever going to have to do this? Well, growth
we go.
model is something that's, yeah, it's in real life for so many situations.
Yeah. So that will make our entrance a little longer,
Right.
because you're going to be talking about this whole idea of growth.
Yeah, why don't you just call it a function? Then why do we have to call it growth? But just
Right.
explain, right.
So
And
do-
plus, too, that takes away some of that apprehension about, oh, this is something new, I've never done a growth model. It
Right.
isn't new.
They intend to say they've
No,
already
it's
done
Just
it,
a
right.
linear equation, we've been studying them all along, we're
Right.
just, we're
As you
calling by a new name.
as you said, a new dimension to a skill you've learned.
The analysis of it is now what you're looking at more than the ability to graph it. It's
Right.
analyzing what you see after you graph, and
Why is this happening?